Senate Democrats oppose Crypto Clarity Act draft, but join talks. U.S. Senate Democrats say they oppose the current draft of the Crypto Clarity Act, but are working with Republicans to get it over the finish line, according to a report circulated by Watcher Guru on July 23, 2026. The framing matters more than it first appears. Opposition to a specific draft is not the same as opposition to the bill, and the willingness to keep negotiating is the signal worth tracking. Market structure legislation has been the missing piece of U.S. crypto policy for years. Stablecoin rules advance separately under the Genius Act, but the larger question of how tokens are classified, which regulator oversees them, and where the line between a security and a commodity sits has stayed unresolved. A Crypto Clarity Act that reaches the floor with votes from both parties would be the first serious attempt to settle that in law, rather than through enforcement. Opposition to a draft is part of the process. The distinction Senate Democrats drew is worth holding on to. Saying you oppose the current text while staying in the room is standard practice for a bill still being marked up. It usually means the sticking points are specific: consumer protection carve-outs, the treatment of decentralized protocols, illicit finance provisions, or how much authority goes to the SEC versus the CFTC. None of those are fatal on their own, and all of them are negotiable. The phrase "over the finish line" implies both sides expect the bill to move rather than die in committee. That is a different posture from the one that has stalled crypto legislation before, where one chamber passes a version the other refuses to take up. Bipartisan negotiation on the text suggests the parties are arguing about how the bill reads, not whether it should exist. Markets are treating it as noise for now. Crypto prices did not react. Bitcoin traded at $66 out $10 as of July 23, 2026, down 0.7% on the day, with Ether at 199.32 and the broader market flat. The Fear and Greed Index sat at 40 in neutral territory. Traders have seen enough legislative false starts to wait for a scheduled vote before repricing anything. That caution is reasonable. A draft under negotiation is not a law, and the gap between working with Republicans and a signed statute can stretch across months and multiple redrafts. The relevant catalyst is not this report. It is the moment a marked-up bill gets a floor date. Rules would reshape how U.S. card users hold crypto. For anyone spending crypto through a card in the United States, the outcome of this bill is not abstract. Clear token classification affects which assets exchanges and card issuers can support, how balances are treated for tax and custody, and whether providers can offer staking rewards or yield features to U.S. customers without regulatory ambiguity. Several features that are routine on cards abroad have been held back in the U.S. precisely because the legal treatment is unsettled. A finished market structure law could also clarify the ground under self-custody spending, where users pay directly from wallets they control. Regulatory certainty tends to bring more issuers into a market, and U.S. customers have had fewer crypto card options than users in the EU or parts of Asia, in part because domestic firms have been cautious about launching into an unclear rulebook. The distance between talk and text. The near-term read is narrow. One report, based on comments from Senate Democrats, describing negotiations that are ongoing. It is not a vote count, a committee markup, or a scheduled hearing. The value in it is directional. Both parties are still engaged on a bill that would, if passed, be the most consequential piece of U.S. crypto legislation to date. The line to watch is whether the Crypto Clarity Act label attaches to a scheduled markup or floor vote in the coming weeks. Until a redrafted text is public and a date is set, this remains a negotiation, and negotiations can stall as easily as they advance. The signal here is that the talks are alive, not that a law is close.